Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Navigating Now. It's your girl, Jocelyn Harrison. I'm a life and business coach, and my desire is to help women become who God has created them to be. And that's why I am so excited about my guest today. And I know I say this every week because I really am excited about every guest I have. Because the fact of the matter is, most of my guests answer questions that I personally have. And I figure if I have them, you also have them. So on today's broadcast, we will be talking about navigating starting over in life and love. My guest today is Regina Gale. Let me tell you a little bit about her before she says hello. Regina is prolific. She really helps women start over on their own terms. And it's whether you're starting over after a divorce, loss of a spouse, or any other unforeseen life circumstance. She helps people to see that brighter days are ahead. Regina is a singer, songwriter, poet. I mean, she has a beautiful voice, by the way. She's a poet, speaker, and coach who is passionate about sharing real world lessons learned in the first half of life with others. So she likes to share that so that then they can create the life they love. Now, she's also a best selling author of 2 books. Sometimes He Buys Me Grapes, and I can't wait to find out what that's about. And That's What Love Is. So prepare yourself for just an experiential and an inspirational experience. Welcome my guest, Regina Gale. Hey, Regina.
Well, hello there. I'm so happy to be here with you, Jocelyn, and thank you so much for that warm welcome. Thank you
Well,
so very
thank you.
much.
Thank you for being here. Now, if you have been watching me over the last couple of weeks, I actually did a part 1 and part 2 of Navigating Now called Navigating Love in Marriage. And I thought, okay, well, everyone's not married. And some people have been married and are no longer married. Well, what about those people? And so I thought about Regina. And when she said yes, I was so excited. So, okay, so Regina, let me backtrack a little bit. Is there anything did I leave out anything in your bio? Is there anything else you want the people to know?
No, that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay. So Regina, I just want to jump in and tell us who you are. Tell us about your story and why you started on this journey of helping other people start over in love and life.
Well, I guess I'm just like everybody else in the respect. You go to school, you do all the things, and you decide that one day you're going to get married, and you get married, and you think you're going to get married, and it's going to last forever. And I waited a while until I found that right one. And I never believed in divorce for myself. Okay. So I went in there with that mindset. So I was determined to make it work. And even when I saw signs that said, girl, you need to get out of here, I was just thinking that love would always see me through. My background, my parents, they were married forever. And I saw good relations. Basically, I saw good relationships all around, That's all that I knew. And I thought when you got married, all of a sudden, if you were wild, you became tame. If you took on a wife, you became a husband. In every sense of the word. And, I know some people grow into that, because relationships just don't happen overnight. You bring two people together who have 2 different backgrounds and they come together. Well, we probably would have been better just staying boyfriend and girlfriend or just friends and not doing that. But, I hung in there for 30 years. So I stayed a long time. I was committed to making this thing work if it killed me, and it almost did. Okay? It almost did, But from it, I have the most amazing son. I learned some amazing things, and that's not to say that my entire marriage was bad. Okay, so there's I'd have to get into that in more detail, but when you think for the rest of my life, I'm going to be with this person, it has to be with somebody you respect, who respects you, who you can trust. Because if there is no trust, you really don't have anything. And a lot of marriages, you get to a point, some people think they're in their 5 years, 10 years, well, I'm just going to stay no matter what. I thought I'd stay and I could make it change, or it would just change because he'd see what was missing. Well, some people are happy with living their own life on their terms, regardless of anybody else. And so that's kind of the dynamic that you had. And so he was a fun time. Okay. I married him because we had a good time together. But when it came to building a life together, he didn't have that capacity. Okay. And after a while, it gets overbearing on one person to drag somebody where you need to go as a couple for the rest of our life. So it didn't last after 30 years. And to say that I was devastated, is an understatement. Because I was very scared when I finally decided that this was going to be it. But I just could not see the rest of my life like that because it wasn't a life. It wasn't a life. And I love my job. I was working. I love working. I love being everywhere, but with him.
Oh no.
And so, that's not a life.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say that, we had fun together sometimes, but I couldn't depend on him for anything. He didn't have my back.
Yeah.
So.
And that's interesting, Regina. I'm sorry to jump in here. I mean, you've said a couple of things. And this is by no means, this isn't a show on divorce, actually. It's a show on starting over after divorce and other losses. But interestingly, two of the things that you said were part of the keys that the Darlene and Rick gave for a successful marriage, and one was trust and one was respect. And so that's interesting that immediately jumped out in my mind is that if, that there was the feeling that there was no trust. It might not even a feeling. I mean, there were, I guess, actions that backed it up, I'm assuming, related to lack of trust and lack of respect. And I'm actually going to ask you said, because I want people, and I thank you, first of all, for just being so transparent.
Oh, yeah.
And real with even how you were feeling and processing everything. And I'm sure this is not even everything, obviously, but thank you, first of all, because I want to back up actually to where you said it almost killed you.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I was under so much stress. I was my heart rate was 123. That was normal for me. I was a drug rep, okay, and I work with cardiac specialists all the time. And how I found out it was that high was just a funny story. I knew I was stressed, but I didn't really pay attention to it because what happens with women and men too, but when you're under a lot of stress and that's your normal, it becomes your normal. Okay. And what happens is when you're under stress, your heart starts hurt, other things start happening to you, but you're just getting through the day. You're just getting through your life and trying to make everything work. And you don't pay attention to your health. Mm-hmm. That's why a lot of people die.
Yeah.
Because stress is the number one killer. And so how I found out my heart rate was that high is one Christmas that we'd gone to Texas for Christmas, as we did every year with my family, my mother, my brothers and sisters, and my sister had given me some money. She goes, "I'm not getting you a present. Just get what you want." And I like trinkets. I love trinkets. So anybody give me a trinket, I'll take it. Okay. And I had decided to get a heart monitor because back then that was like the big thing, and you had to put all these wires on and whatever. And when it came, I was sitting at my desk and I opened it and I was doing some work. I put it on and it shot up to 123. And I looked at it again and then it went up to 127. And I'm like, this darn thing, I just got it and it's broken already. And so I decided I would go put it on my son. My son was like 2 years old at that time. And it's like down to 70 or 60 or something like that. I put it on me, shot up again. So then I went in the room and asked my ex if he would put it on. I said, I got this and I think it's not working right and I'm gonna have to send it back because it was after hours. He puts it on and it's like 70. And so I went back in my office and I start pulling out all my cardiac manuals trying to figure out what's wrong with me. And my heart is beating even faster because I'm thinking, oh my gosh, something's wrong. And it's not the thing. And so the next day, I was working with a cardiac specialist that he had flown in, and he treated like really important people. He was one of those high power doctors anyway. He was speaking at one of my hospitals, teaching hospitals. And so I had to drive him down to Monterey after I picked him up at the San Jose airport drug. And so, of course, I had his ear. So I was asking him, you were just chit-chatting. And then I said, I have this new monitor and I put it on last night. And every time I put it on, it said that my heart rate was 123, 127, 128. Should I be worried? And he goes, if I were you, I would go get that checked out immediately. That's his specialty. I was so scared. I got on the Monterey. I got on the phone, called back in the area that I was, and I called my doctor and I said, okay, who should I see that can see me this afternoon? Because I have a problem. But what I found out is we did not attribute that to stress, okay? What we attributed is maybe I had a heart problem. So for years, over 15 years, I was under cardiac care. I had irregular heartbeat. I was on all kinds of medications, and they never could get it fixed, okay? The side effects from all the drugs I was on was bad too. And I didn't have a heart problem. My heart was broken. That was my problem. And there was no repair for that.
Wow.
And when I tell people, when stuff is not going on in your life, pay attention. Pay attention. I could have died very easily. Mm-hmm. It wasn't until I decided to take myself off the medication because they kept titrating me up, trying to fix something that they couldn't fix, and they couldn't figure out why. And I titrated myself off because I had enough drug experience to know how to do it safely. And I go back in, the doctor, and he says, oh, the new prescription worked. I said, no, I'm not on anything. I took myself off. And he goes, oh, maybe you didn't have a heart. These are specialists.
Wow.
These are specialists. Okay. But the problem is they know the heart is a big thing. But if you don't put that other factor in of what's going on in your life, that may be causing you all the grief. And the things that I was having to deal with in my marriage were just crazy. We won't even get into that.
Yeah,
today,
okay? That's not even necessary for this conversation.
And so So um, I've learned a lot, but I'm happy. I am happier not than I've ever been. I'm happy with my future. I'm happy with where I'm going and what I wanted to see. And I wanted to be married for the rest of my life, but I wanted the rest of my life to be happy.
Yeah.
Okay. And sometimes we have to make changes in our life and we have to give up on our dreams to have the real dreams. Because
Mm.
that was just one of my dreams.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't my only dream. And so what it was is it gave me an opportunity to do some of the things in my life that I was afraid to do
Mm.
when I was young.
Mm.
So the hope for everybody, I don't care what you go through.
Yeah.
What I always want everybody to know me, I don't care how bad it is, and I'm probably the worst of most of people, I hope, is that there's always something good that you can pull out of anything. But you get to decide which way you want to go. You know, am I going to look at the lessons that I learned, and from the lessons that I learned, can I help somebody so that they don't have to go through these lessons,
Mm-hmm.
or do I want to live in grief or something like that? And I choose not to because life is a gift to each and every one of us, and nobody gets to take your gift away. No one.
Mm. Yeah. I love that. So one of the things I just got from what you said is sometimes you have to put the dream, and this is not even a relation. I mean, necessarily, really just for relationships. This is just in general that
Yeah.
sometimes what you think is the real. Sometimes you have to put away what you believe is the real dream so that you can achieve the real dream.
Right.
And so that is, I think, with anything, when we're looking at something, if we have a goal and we're striving for that goal, or we're setting our hearts toward that goal, and then you get the whisper from God or whatever happens, something may happen, and you're like, oh my gosh, my spouse has passed. I thought we were going to be together forever. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh, this marriage has died, basically, because right, marriage is death, divorce is
Yes,
death.
it is.
Oh my gosh, this this marriage has died, and I wanted to be married forever. Like that was my dream, that was my goal. So now what? And we get to choose
Right.
what we do in that moment, understanding that there is, for many, there will be a grieving process in the
Always.
midst of that, right? So there will be a grieving process, but even in that, you get to choose. And I say, go through whatever it is you need to feel, and then so you can come out on the other side. Um, but
You
you
know,
get to
the
choose.
yeah, the thing is whether the love is there, the love is gone, the love, however you lost the love, if you lost
Yeah,
your spouse or whatever,
yeah.
okay, or a relationship just didn't break up. What happens is when there has been love,
Mm-hmm.
if there has ever been love, when you love somebody, you want the best for them. So even if that means that you don't, it's best for them not to be in your life,
Mm-hmm.
that's the best for them. So you
Yeah.
take it for that, because love is love if it's real. And so how you choose to look at if there ever was love, and love has several forms,
Yeah.
and which one did you grab onto? Was it the Eros or what? you know, we always want that agape love,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but we have to go with love for what it is and what we know it is, and it doesn't get any better than what we know. Love is patient, love is kind, and when all of those things are not happening in love, you really have to be bold enough to question that so you can work it out, is really. But if you can't work it out, then you need to both work a life so that you both will feel the love that you need to feel,
Mm-hmm.
is really what it
Yeah.
is. And everybody is not meant to be with the person that they get all the time,
Yeah.
and that's just a reality of life.
Yeah. Yeah.
That just really is a reality of life.
Yeah.
And but we all, every single person deserves to have a good life
Yeah. Yeah.
and to be loved by the people around them.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about starting over.
Okay.
So when you're working with the women you coach,
Mhm.
I'm assuming it's mostly women, right? It is mostly women.
Mostly women. I actually have some men that I work with, but yeah, mostly
Okay,
women.
cool.
You
That's
know,
good though. So
and
yes, men, you do not have to turn away from this broadcast. We're not. This is
yeah,
look. It's for men and women. So
yeah.
what? Tell me. Talk me through like the steps or how you work with people. What do you tell them to do first, second, third, or however you want to lay this out for
Okay,
us?
I think first of it, there's kind of this foundation that everybody needs, and there's some basic things that everybody needs, men, women, whatever, when we're starting all over, and especially if you're starting all over again, because, um, I say, like, if I'm working with people in the second half of their life, I'm in the second half of my life. The second half of your life can be when some people say, well, I'm 25, I'm in the second half, I'm 35, whatever you consider, or just whatever starting over is. Okay, where are you now? Okay, and there's certain things that you need to look at, because how we pick friends, even when we're 20, 27, is very different than the friends that we're going to pick when we're 50, for a whole number of reasons.
Yeah.
So I take you through all of those things, the foundation of the things that you need to have that support. And so it will be able to support you as you move forward in life. And then we start talking about relationships after that. We have a relationship aspect, and it's, love, lust, and desire. That makes the world go around. What does that really look like to you? You've lived a little bit. What does it really look like for you? So when you're going in it, you're not getting excited about something that is meaningless, or
Hmm.
just fleeting. So you look at things very differently. And then we talk about the transitions that you make and that you've had to go through, as well as the transitions and moving on and letting go, because you cannot take your past with you. Otherwise, you're going to have some problems, and being able to make sure that you really have let all of that stuff go, so it has no influence on where you go in the future.
Hmm.
And then the fourth aspect is that back to me, I call this, I love my life. I love me now, that kind of thing. We're talking about health. We're talking about, your thoughts, just a lot of things that make you feel whole and put you in that place where you need to be, so that you can really have the life that you want, and anticipating all the things that you want to do with your life.
Hmm.
Perhaps you have stuff that you wanted to do, but now you think, well, I'm too old. Well, you're going to be older tomorrow, baby. Is
Right.
that It's how I look at it. So what,
Right.
So, our desires can be what they want to be. People used to not live past 50 years old. People
Right.
are living to 100 years old. Yeah, I'm claiming I'm going to live to be about 105. So, you know, as long as you have life in you need to live that life.
Hmm.
And it's just being able to find that joy and not expecting the joy to come from anybody else. Your joy, it lives within you.
Okay. So someone write that down. Do not expect your joy to come from anyone else. Your joy lives in you. Your joy lives in you. So you can even put in there, my joy lives in me. And that is like a good mantra. My joy lives in me. Okay. I'm sorry. Go on.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So that's kind of what, owning that place for yourself, being happy with yourself. When I thought about it, a lot of people are afraid to be by themselves. They're uncomfortable by themselves. Well, I thought, well, what if I have to spend the rest of my life by myself?
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I looked at things. I wanted to figure out, do I like me well enough? Oh yeah, I love me, you know? And that's how you're supposed to feel. Because how are you going to show somebody else how to love you if you don't even know how to love yourself well?
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't work. And when you've been with yourself a period of years, you really should know yourself really well. But
Yeah.
sometimes we haven't taken the time to know those things. Not saying that you're not going to be flexible with somebody else, but you need to know kind of what your non-negotiables
Mm-hmm.
are, and be okay with that people don't have to accept them.
Yeah. Mm, that's good. So be comfortable, learn to be comfortable with yourself. Learn to know what your non-negotiables are. And also know that some people are not going to accept your non-negotiables. And you have to be happy and you have to be okay with letting that person know, okay, thank you. It's been
It's
nice
fine.
knowing you, or whatever. Or okay, well,
Yeah,
our relationship can be this, but it can never
yeah,
be this. Yeah,
right.
that's good.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
And that's okay. And that way, you can be true to yourself, because
Hmm.
there is nothing worse than being in relation, even just regular friendships, when you know that
Yeah.
you don't really like the things that they say and they do, and you just tolerate,
Yeah.
you know. Pretty soon you're going to get to the point where you don't even want to be in that space. And if you've not been honest about what makes you uncomfortable with that person because you didn't want to hurt their feelings, because it's not saying we have to do those things in nasty ways. We never have to do that, and we
Yeah.
never have to hurt anybody, but we always have to be very frank about what works or what we find uncomfortable, because we should never be making anybody else uncomfortable or make ourselves uncomfortable either. And if we are being positive about all the things that we go through and try to do and trying to do the best, that should not even be an issue. But sometimes it is, because some people are very um, uncomfortable being truthful with
Yeah.
those kinds of things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fitting,
Yeah.
fitting in, fitting in,
Hmm.
wanting to
Hmm.
fit in
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
be accepted.
Yeah. Okay. So let me go back because I always like to reiterate so the people can get it.
Oh, okay.
So when you're working with your clients, you first take them because you have 4 steps, and you
Right.
first
It's
help
kind
them
of
to
the
see from a
foundation.
foundational level where they are now. What does that look like? You know, money, finance, friends, relationships, how you see yourself, how you feeling, what are your thoughts, all of that. And then you go to a relationship aspect where
Hmm.
you talk about love, lust, and desire, and helping people to see. So, guys, think about this: being so true to yourself that you, you how you thought about relationships, you've grown wiser, right? That's where we let our wisdom kick in, and you realize what you thought was important before isn't so important, or what you didn't even think about before as not important. You're like, oh my gosh, that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
When either wanting to start over in love, and really even in life,
Yeah.
because you may have been on a job and you lost that job after 30 years, right? Or 20 years or
Right.
15 years. And you're devastated because you may have defined yourself by that thing. And I know that's where we always have to be careful, Regina, is not defining ourselves by what we do, not defining ourselves by who was on our arm,
Right.
not defining ourselves by the outside things, because if for whatever reason something changes in those outside things and we've attached who we are to those things, then what do we do? How do
Right.
we bounce back?
Yeah. Well, and that's a problem sometimes with relationships. They're
Hmm.
solid until one of those triggers change. A man, his job is his like everything,
Hmm.
honestly, in most cases. And if he gets pulled away or something happens to that job that he absolutely, if one is he loves, okay,
Hmm.
and that's how he saw himself
Yeah.
and all of those things, it could bring havoc to a
Hmm.
relationship if he's not willing to face that back and be
Yeah.
talk to his spouse or woman about that.
Hmm.
Those can be problems, and that's kind of where ours stemmed from.
Okay.
And
Hmm.
so I know that to be true. But um, when I in starting over, I always tell people, I think marriages and relationships are the most wonderful thing.
Hmm.
Okay, because
Yes.
I've seen it all in my life. I just didn't have it,
Hmm.
but it doesn't seem that I might not have it again. But
Yeah.
life, we never know what our life is supposed to be.
Hmm.
you know and so whatever shows up, we always have things we can learn, share, and give from whatever we go through.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is, I learned a lot, I
Yeah.
share a lot, and I have a lot to give.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a part of step 3, which is the transitions, right? That
Yeah.
is the transitions you make, and that means moving on and letting go. So that speaks a lot. What you just said speaks a lot to that. And then number 4 is, okay, I'm feeling myself. I love myself. I'm liking myself. I am choosing to love who I am. I'm choosing to love the space I'm in. And I think the other thing about that is even if the desire is to be in another relationship, most often people are attracted to people who are confident and who seem to feel good in their own skin, right? That's attractive, right? Have you
Yeah.
found that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is. And, the thing is more than anything is to have a happy life.
Mm-hmm.
Just be, um, have in your mind that what I want more than anything is to be happy. I
Yeah.
want to be happy. I want my family to be happy. I want my son to
Yeah.
see that if you fall down, you get back up and you keep
Right.
it moving.
Yeah.
And the best way that people see things, you can always tell them something, but for them to see it in action
Mm-hmm.
means more than anything else in the world.
Yeah. 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 And so for the people who may be looking at this and saying, okay, this still feels fresh to me. I just lost my spouse. I just got a divorce, or this other crazy thing happened. What have you found to be the thing that makes it the hardest for people to let go of, or to be able to tether themselves from that so that they can move to the next phase?
It could be anger, it can be loneliness, not understanding, or trying to understand something that they have no power over. And so it's just that letting go. And the biggest thing that you can do, the best thing one can do, is give themselves some time to be okay with that and not try to have the answers. And sometimes we as women, we want answers
Mm-hmm.
when
Yeah.
there are none. And so and then we can fabricate some, you know and that doesn't mean they're going to be right.
Well.
you know but realizing, when you think you've done your best, or you've given the best that you had to give, and it just didn't work for whatever reason, sometimes you just have to step aside, and start all over. And if you've lost somebody, and yes, we never want to lose anybody,
Mm-hmm.
under any circumstance,
Yeah.
okay? And when it happens, you have to go through that grieving period, but you have to get up and start living again, because anybody who's ever had love for anyone, you want them happy. So if you think you were even loved for half an hour, during that half
Mm.
an hour, they wanted the best from you. So you take that half an hour and you just live
Mm-hmm.
with that in your heart, because we want the best for people.
Yeah.
We do. So it's just time. It takes time, and nothing's going to really happen that fast. And the biggest thing that I tell people is, don't jump into something because you're feeling lonely.
Yeah.
That's like the worst thing,
Yeah.
the worst thing
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah.
I believe it takes time to go through whatever grief that you have to go through. And yeah, there are going to be times you're going to feel, I don't want to do this, by
Yeah.
myself or whatever. But sometimes you need to.
Yeah.
You really do.
Yeah. What about forgiveness? How do you talk to people about that?
Depends what day it is. No, okay, for real. I have my, I'm, I have my moments. Most of the time, when I look at it now, is I really forgive everything that happened And like I said, we had some good moments, we had some bad moments, but we had some good moments. And things didn't work out, but you just forgive, okay? Because we cannot hold on to anything, because the person that hurts when you're holding on to it is you.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody else has gone on about their life.
Right.
And so it doesn't do you any good.
Yeah.
And why do you want to hold on to something that doesn't benefit you?
Mm. Mm-hmm.
It doesn't do you any good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The best thing you can do for yourself is show somebody what they could have had if you had worked together, or something like
Yeah.
that,
Mm-hmm.
just be the magnificent person that you are, man or
Mm.
woman, whoever you are,
Yeah.
because there's something special about every single person.
Mm.
And just because
Mm-hmm.
somebody doesn't see it or something doesn't work or whatever, you have to find that in you, your
Yes.
gift,
Yes.
because you got a gift.
Yes. Yeah. That's good. I think it is definitely always, and it may be tough at times. And it depended on how it ended too, because it might have ended beautifully. Like you all may have been great friends, but I'm just saying for somebody, it might have ended.
Yeah.
When I say beautifully, it might not have been
Yeah.
a rough ending. It might have been like,
You know what?
I think we're just much better as friends. Let's just, move
Yeah,
on
I
or
know people.
whatever.
I know people like that, and I
Yeah.
think that's beautiful when they can,
Yeah.
get to that point. But some people grow to that point
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
I think it's a maturity thing, and it's a respectful thing. It's a maturity thing, and it's a lot of the personality thing. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yeah.
so it's a lot, and we are all very complex people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So there's no, when I work with people, there's some things that are similar and there's some things that are not, because none of us are the same.
Exactly.
None of us are the
Yeah.
same. And
Yeah.
so we all have our own stuff,
Yeah.
good and bad,
Yeah.
that we have to work through.
Yeah. And I think you mentioned this, but I want to just point it out again that I think definitely allowing yourself time is essential to starting over in anything.
Yes.
And also, like kind of pulling up roots. When I say that, pulling out weeds, let me put it like that. Pulling out weeds, pulling down stronghold. I mean, stuff that's in your mind and in your head that's not real, because there, because you're not even together anymore, you may be feeling certain things about yourself. If things were said, you may be feeling like a failure. You may feel great, but really because there was probably some contention, and this is even in death, when there's death, you are feeling certain things and you're wondering certain things about yourself. And you may have been told certain things about you that are not true.
Right.
And so I definitely want to just
Well,
just
yeah.
emphasize that
Yeah.
as you take the time, I want you to take the time to review the thoughts that you're having about yourself and examine them and know what is not true. You know what I'm saying? Like
Oh, most
most of the
definitely.
right, most of the negative
Most
things you're probably saying about yourself are probably not true, especially if it doesn't feel beneficial, to you, because obviously we all have things that we need to work on.
Right. You know what? I think when you go through anything negative, a loss or anything that you
Mhm.
consider negative, you automatically start questioning, did I
Mhm.
do something wrong? Or could I have done something right? Or maybe I should have done something
Yeah.
different. You
Yeah.
know, um, I come from the standpoint of, you did the best you could with what you had then.
Mhm.
Okay. So moving forward, you can look back real quickly to see, maybe I should have done certain things different,
Yeah.
but you can't live in that spot, because that
That's
time
right.
is gone. You
Yeah.
cannot take the past with you,
Yeah.
but you can decide what your present and your future is going to be like,
Yeah.
and you can make the adjustments that you need to do in your life
Yeah.
so that it works for your life.
Right.
Okay, because your
Yeah.
life is going to be different, and you get to decide what it's going to look like.
Yes. Yeah, that's good. And the other thing that I would suggest is that if you are finding it tough to start over, or even if you're like, I know I need some help with this, I would say get a coach like Regina or get a therapist. I would say seek the Lord about
Most definitely.
yourself. I would seek. Ask the Lord to show you. Ask the Lord to get rid of the things in you that are not of Him. That are just not even who you really are, and to reveal, who you really are. Because you could be 20, you could be 40, you could be 60, 70, still needing to start over, and knowing that it's okay, that you have everything within you to start over. You have everything is already there. Life does not end. I am just here to, I feel the Lord on this one. Look, this is not a preaching message, but I will say that life can begin again. Life begins again. Life begins again. We are blessed with new mercies every day.
Every day. Every
Every day,
single
every
day.
day,
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah.
God daily loads us with benefits.
Yeah. When I wake up every morning, the first thing I say is, thank you, Lord,
Mm-hmm.
thank you, Lord. And I look outside and the sun is there's trees or leaves are on the trees or not on the trees or
Right.
whatever, it's just that my work is not done because I was given another day. It's kind of how I look at it.
Yes, I love that. My work is not done because I was given another day. Somebody put that in there in the comment section. Yeah.
Yeah.
My work is not done. I have been because I've been given another day. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But God,
because we get a fresh new day every day, we get the opportunity, right, to choose
right.
who we are, how we live, how we are, as a person,
Yeah.
and how we love and
And
how
how we
we
look.
want to be loved.
Yeah. And you know what? We are all children of God. Okay. We
Yeah.
are all children of God. And, sometimes we don't pick up our Bibles enough,
Yes.
because the answers are kind of in there.
Well,
And, if we stop trying to modify them to fit our situation for,
yeah.
current, they kind of really are there for
Yeah.
us, like, so especially, I always go back to, First Corinthians, 13, 4 through 7. When it comes to love, if you just focus on that,
Yes.
if
That's
it's
good.
not looking like this, we need to sit down and
Yeah.
figure this thing out,
Yeah.
if we're going to figure it out,
Yeah.
and just being that critical, diligent, whatever,
Yeah.
with your life, because we're
Yeah.
talking about your life when you're interacting with anybody else.
Yeah.
It's not their life is not more important than your life. All of your lives are important, and if you have kids, it's all equal.
Yeah.
Everybody's life is
Yeah.
important and
Yeah.
counts.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? You just said something too, and I promise we're gonna wrap up. But you just said something when you were talking about First Corinthians 13, verse 4 through 7, and you put that in the comment section, somebody. First Corinthians 13, 4 through 7. And those are the love verses. That even if you are in relationship, even if you are married, you can actually start over. Right? You saying that and what you said after that made me think that, yes, we're talking about after things happen, but maybe something major happens even in your marriage, you can start over. It takes two, right?
It
But
takes,
but you can make the choice to start over in life, in love, even in your marriage.
in a marriage, okay, like I said, I love marriage. I
Yeah.
absolutely love it. I
Yeah.
think in a marriage, the best thing your marriage is to do is you have to decide that you're going to take some time, be once a week, once a month, once or whatever, and spend some time, just the two of you guys together,
Yeah.
and remember what it's like to have fun, because you can tell. I always say you can tell people who've been around together a long time that they kind of look at the other one. They have nothing to say to each other.
Uh-huh.
You know,
I
who
can see
wants
that.
to be in that kind of life?
Right.
Go
Yeah.
back to the days when you just couldn't keep your eyes off of each other. And so how
Yeah.
did you get there? You always had a lot to say. So
Yeah.
we have to do those things. We have to remember what
Yeah.
love felt like.
Yeah.
And why
Yeah.
is it not feeling like that anymore?
Yeah. Yeah.
And if we're too tired, then we need to get rid of some other stuff going on
Right. Yeah.
and put it back in
Yeah.
for us.
Yeah. 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 And I would say if you single, so say you're single watching this, if you haven't hopefully turned away, if you're single because you're thinking, oh, this is not about me, if you're single and you've never been married, you too can start over in the way that you think about your own life. And it's really the same thing. It's the same 4 steps, which I'm going to reiterate. Where are you now? What are the things that you desire for your life? What do you really want for your life? Finding out all those things. Even relationships. What do you want in relationships? Do you even want a relationship? Because some people may not. And if you do, really being clear about who you are, who you want to be in a relationship, and what's important to you. 3, as you are transitioning from one stage in life to the next, what will you do to help yourself move on and to let go? Because even if you're single, you may still have some old stories that you are telling yourself that don't serve you, and they definitely wouldn't serve a relationship. And then getting to that point, that step 4 is learning to love your life, learning to love yourself, learning to date yourself or take yourself out on your own date, learning to like who you are so that you're so comfortable by yourself that when there is someone there, you don't mind welcoming them in your space, because it's so inviting, because you're just so cool. And
and they want to be in that space because it looks like you having a heck of a time. Okay.
Exactly. And exploring the things that you love. Like,
Yeah.
do you love to sing? Do you love to dance? Take a dance class. Do you love to write? Take a writing class. I don't know. Do you love making cakes? Start a business. I mean,
whatever it is. Do you want to travel?
You want to travel? Yes.
Working in the garden. It's just all of those things, and being kind enough to allow yourself to do those things without figuring out, well, I can't do it because the time is not right. But make some time for you.
Yes.
Making some time for you, because you're really important.
Yeah. 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 And I guess that might even be a good place for us to stop, because I tell everybody this, we could talk for another hour. But I think, like Regina just said, is realizing that you are a masterpiece. And this is whether you are male or female. Realizing that you are God's masterpiece. And that because we get new mercies every day, because we're daily loaded with benefits every day, because we get up, that means there's more for us to do. Even if you're feeling low, if you can begin to think on those things that are precious and pure and lovely, even if you can't think on it all day, but if you take it step by step and choose to think the thoughts that you want to think, right, that will benefit you, that in and of itself is, the makings of a fresh start, the fertilization of the soil of your life. You know what I'm saying? The things that you are feeding yourself verbally, what you're reading, who you're being around, and allow people to support you and allow people to tell you the truth as well in that process. And so I just believe doing that will help begin to peel away all the stuff, that you may be feeling, and allows you to emerge. I keep thinking of a flower. I think that's why I'm like using fertilizer and soil. I just keep thinking of.
Well, that's that's a very good thought. A quote that I wrote many, many years ago is, every time I look forward, I see a second chance.
I love that.
Okay.
Every time I look forward, I see a second chance. Okay.
Yeah. And that's for whatever stage or whatever you're going through. We always have that. And you're not single or whatever, just whatever, you know? be it job related, whatever,
Yeah.
we just have to keep that belief
Yes.
and that
Yeah.
hope,
Yes.
because we don't have that. We don't have much that's going to
Yeah.
keep us propelling forward.
Yes. Yeah. I love that. I love that. I, you said so much. Is there anything else? Is there one last thought you want to give to our
Well,
people?
no, I really have enjoyed being here, but I tell you what, I really would like to share my books. I'm going to hold it up. This is the
Okay.
first book. It's called Sometimes He Buys Me Grapes, behind me. My second book, this is what it looks like. That's What Love Is. And they're both wonderful books, of course.
Of course, because you wrote them. Of course.
Now, the first one is about the heart of a woman, and we talk about family, friends, relationships, all of the things kind of that we talk about. But this is a poetry, short story, and prose, and
Hmm.
um, you would love it. That's all I can say. It's like you go on a journey because it's about a heart of a woman.
I love that.
Okay, and a woman's heart runs the world. The
Yeah.
men in
Yeah.
her life, the children in her life, and it's all there. It's all there. And then that's what love is it's family plus friends equals love. Okay, it doesn't get any better than
Mhm.
that. Because
Yes.
love is like the biggest thing in the world for me. And
Yeah.
however you think it doesn't show up, you look maybe at it life a little bit differently, you're going to find some love there. Okay.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
sometimes it starts with you being able to love yourself. And
Yeah.
that's really where it all has to be,
Yeah.
loving yourself so that you can love others better.
Yeah. I love it. Loving yourself so you can love others better. I love it. I love it. So, how can people reach you if they want to have you come and speak? Because I know you've done a lot of speaking. You're a
Mhm.
coach. You're a singer.
Yeah.
How can people find you?
Okay. You can reach out to me at reginagale.com, which is real easy there.
Somebody put that
Um,
in the comment section. Regina
uh-huh.
at reginagale.com. Okay.
Mhm. On LinkedIn, I'm on LinkedIn under Regina Gale Dozier, because Dozier is my last name. And Regina Gale, Gale is my middle name. Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Regina Gale. And
And
then if
so
you're on
Dozier
Facebook,
is Dozier.
yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. So, and then I'm on Facebook under Regina or Regina Gale Dozier or Regina Gale. So I'll be there, but Regina at reginagale.com, you'll get me directly. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We can do that for sure. Okay. So I've been asking my guest this month, this is February, what who is an African American, either living or past, that you would love to either spend dinner with or a couple of hours with to just talk to them and learn more about them?
Nina Simone.
Oh, oh. And why Nina?
I love her music. Her life was
Yeah.
up and down, and
Mhm.
but she was passionate about what she did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
passionate.
I love that.
I love passion in people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's cool. Okay. Now the other book, although I kind of know what you'll probably tell me. The other question, excuse me, that I've been asking is, because I love to read, what book are you currently reading or would you recommend?
oh gosh. Well, okay. Well, the book I'm getting ready to read is President Obama's newest book. I have that. I haven't
Okay.
cracked it open yet, so that's it. And then I'm looking at Conversations with God. It's 2 centuries of prayers by African Americans.
Okay. I love it.
So I'm
Conversations with
going through
God.
that. And then
Okay.
I kind of have I read like I listen to a lot of audiobooks.
Yeah, me too.
So, and then of course I'm reading my own stuff. So because I'm writing a new
Exactly.
book. I'm writing a new book as well. So I'm like you. I love to read.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would do. That in
Yeah.
fact those are my best vacations when I could take a book and just read.
Yes, yes, yes. I know, me too. That's how I am too. I was taking a stack of books.
Oh, okay,
It
good.
finally took me a second to use a tablet, to read because I just love the feel of the pages, So I still have hundreds of books actually, y'all. But I will use a tablet now too, and I do love audio.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm like you. I like. There is nothing like holding a
I know.
book in your hand and being able to go through the pages and sometimes highlighting it so
Right.
you can. I just absolutely love that. So I will never ever not have books, but I do have the other stuff, but
Yeah,
it's not the same. You cannot highlight in your the thing
I know.
and thumbing through the pages. It's just not the same. Technology.
So true, so true. I definitely find that I will, for fiction, if it's some fiction, because I still like to read fiction and nonfiction, but if it's fiction, I would definitely, and I love the library too, I will tablet that, especially
Yeah,
like over the last couple of years, because Amazon used to come to my house all the time.
yeah,
But for fiction, I will usually just tablet that or audio. But for nonfiction, I prefer having the book.
yeah.
And I have done audio and the book too, sometimes
I,
for nonfiction. Yeah.
yeah, and this is digressing. I remember when I used to not go to the movies until I read the book.
Okay.
And then I buy the book and get the audio too. But the Color Purple was kind of like that. And then I would go through this thing, whether or not the movie was as good as the book. Never.
Oh, never, 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 never. Awesome. Awesome. Well, Regina, thank you again for being here. I have enjoyed this conversation. I have enjoyed you and your lovely, bright smile and just your insight on starting over, on navigating starting over. And like I said, if you have enjoyed this conversation with Regina, she is a great coach, by the way. If you need some relationship coaching, or if you need some coaching on starting over in life and love and just having a beautiful life, definitely reach out to her. See her information in the comment section. If you have a group, an organization where you'd like her to speak, definitely reach out to her. And I know that she will be a great guest and resource for you. Well, Regina, I think that's it for this show.
Well, thank you so very much for having me, and many blessings to you.
Yes, blessings to you and blessings to you all. Thank you for watching. It's your girl, Jocelyn Harrison with Navigating Now. Have a wonderfully blessed evening, and I just send you blessings and send you love, and my hope is that your life is filled with love, and that you know that every day is an opportunity to start fresh. And with that, I am out. Peace and blessings. Bye.